Hello, welcome back, all you DPC rebels. Dr. Shane's back. Another 5-minute magic tip on a Friday afternoon. Hope you guys are doing great. Looking forward to a great weekend. I just want to come with a couple of little things for you. Going to do a little two-part series on some entrepreneurship and DPC docs. And as you see down here at the bottom, the topic today is physicians suck at business. There's been a long-standing uh, stereotype that docs can't run businesses. They don't know what they're doing in business. They're just bad at business. So that's been said for years. If you'll hear that if you talk to business people, if you talk to bankers, different people, even physicians, executives at hospital systems, they will talk about physicians just don't know how to run a business of medicine. So that's a long-standing stereotype, and throughout the decades, I don't know, in the last 50, 60 years, we've seen physicians initially own their own practices for years, decades. Docs had their own business, right? They managed their own office and ran their own independent practices. And then, 80s, 70s, 80s, some of those things swung to the opposite side, or docs just sold their practices, just worked for hospital systems, worked for corporate groups. Sort of that momentum swung back in another direction. You got more independent physicians, and now we're heading back the other direction, where mostly we just have most doctors are owned by some huge medical practice or corporate medicine or a hospital system. Something like 70 to 75% of physicians don't work for themselves anymore. They're not working independent. They don't work for patients. They work for somebody, some corporation. Not to mention, if you're dealing with insurance, you're working for the insurance companies primarily anyway. So we've seen this, heard this for years, that docs are just not good at the business of medicine, the business side, handling things. So why is that? Why do we have those stereotypes? Where do they come from? Want to do a little two-part series, talk a little bit about why those things are there, and then next week talking about entrepreneurship and medicine, how they are kind of clash, but then what makes them unique and what makes them work together. So, little two-part series. Next week we'll talk about some differences between entrepreneurship and being a physician, and how we can get over some of the humps and the fears of having your own business. So if you're a DPC doc, or you're dreaming of being a DPC doc and having your own practice, you got to get through those big fears. One of the huge fears is, I don't know how to run a business. I don't know how to operate a business. It's not rocket science. Uh, if you did physics and you did biochem, you made it through your undergrad, and you made it through medical school, I can guarantee you can sit down and learn some basics and fundamentals of bookkeeping, accounting, and you don't need a PhD in economics to run your business. There's lots of help out there. You can find a business mentor out there. There's tons of ways to learn and build up your entrepreneur skills. But the mindset of, hey, I want to do this myself, the empowering, independent mindset that DPC brings is one of entrepreneurship. And there's some basic things you need to connect those two together. And hopefully, the next couple of weeks, we'll try to help you get over some of those fears. As I shared some of this information with a recent mastermind we had. So, a couple of things to think about why the stereotype kind of lays out there that docs just suck at business and they can't run their practices. Um, Partially because you'll hear, and even physicians agree to this, that just not had any business training. When we go through med school, undergrad, we've not taken business classes. That's something we just did not do because it wasn't required. There's no business training in med school, no business training in residency, so you don't really get any of the basics of how uh, cash flow works and those kind of things in your business. So you don't really understand that business side of it. Those you would have to learn on your own. So you're gonna have to step out and start doing some of the hard work for yourself. Learn for yourself. Um, some people say that doctors are too compassionate. They don't want to get involved in the money side of business of medicine. The whole I just want to take care of people. I don't want to know what their bill is or how to fix their bill. And there's some truth to that. But we need compassionate business people to take care of patients too. So um, I don't know that that stereotype holds up too well because when I'm dealing with other businesses, I want them to be compassionate and do the right thing. And that's what we need physicians to do when they're doing their independent practice. So um, there's all fear. Fear is a big one. Doctors just don't want to. They're afraid to learn the business. They're afraid they can't do the business. Um, the fear of the unknown, fear of making mistakes. All those things. There's huge fear of trying to do your own business. But again, easy to get over that fear with mentors, training online. There's so many different ways that you can learn from other DPC docs who are doing it already. Um, and then the other big thing is that docs are just risk averse in general. We don't like to take risk, and there's some risk involved in owning your own business. Way different risk than being a physician, and that's one of the things we'll talk about next week as we list off some differences between entrepreneurship and being a physician. Sort of how they're a little different, but also one big thing that makes them really connect. So uh, just some things on today about the fears and stereotypes of why docs maybe don't do business well, and maybe why they just want to work for somebody and do medicine. They don't want to be in the business side of medicine. But I would ask you, how's that working out? In our current healthcare system, with 75% of the docs don't know how the business is running. They're just trying to keep their heads down and take care of patients. How's that working out for our healthcare system? With the MBAs and the executives and the hospital systems and corporate medicine, with all of them in control, how's that working out for you as a physician and for our patients? Are things getting better or worse? I think it's really high time we consider physicians get back into independent practice of medicine, run their own businesses, and try to take care of patients and do the right thing for their patients and their communities. So I would challenge you to consider doing your independent practice, which is what DPC is all about. We need to stop giving up the business side of medicine and really help our patients and help ourselves and our community um, really take care of patients in a cost-effective way that makes patients feel better and more satisfied, and also physicians more satisfied. Um, and independent practice is the way to go about doing that, and you can do it. It's not rocket science. There's a lot of DPC docs who've learned and continue to grow. So next week we'll talk a little bit more about entrepreneurship and physicians and how that matches up. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And for now, just keep the DPC magic going. I would say if you need to connect with me, you can meet me at drshane at dpcmagic.com, drshane at dpcmagic.com. Be happy to chat with you there.